So 25 novels, the Edgar Allan Poe Award, TV series. So really, what the hell have you done with your life, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's gone very well. It's continued on this last book that came out in not quite a month ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, a month ago. Debuted at number one, and it's luckily each book has outsold the last one, so
it's
I have
amazing.
no complaints. It's gone very well.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. What's the latest one called?
It's called Battle Mountain.
I saw you on Hugh Hewitt. That's right. You did an interview with him recently, right? Hugh,
Right,
nice guy. I wrote an article on him a couple of years ago. He's an interesting bird.
I
Um,
agree.
so Joe Pickett's your guy. Have you written novels away from Joe, or most of them been on Joe, or if not all of them?
25 of them have been Joe Pickett novels. But I have another six books, um, two sole standalones in there, and then four books, kind of another series with a character named Cassie Duell. That's the TV show Big Sky was based on those.
That's great. I have a favorite author of mine, it's Carl Hiaasen. You may
Sure.
know him, but he plugs the same kind of theme. He inserts new stories, but you know it's a Carl Hiaasen. If there were no title, or if there were no name on the cover, you'd know it was a Carl Hiaasen. Do you feel that way about your work? Do you put Joe in a bunch of comfortable, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but do you put him in situations where people could know this is Joe Pickett?
I think so, primarily. Yeah, I think it definitely because the character of Joe Pickett is a game warden, a Wyoming game warden. So most of the books revolve around issues like resource management, wildlife conservation, energy development, all those kinds of things that a game warden would conceivably be involved in, and maybe not any other kind of law enforcement um, officer would be as involved in those things.
Again, I mean this with respect. Is those issues that mean something to you, or those issues that sell books?
Oh, I never sit down and think what will sell. I'll write that. I no, I research the issues. I'm interested in them, and a lot of times I'm not sure how they're going to connect with the Joe Pickett book. But the way I always do it is do the research first, do some interviews of people who are involved in, like, if they're controversial subjects, and then figure out a way to kind of in effect pull a reader through this topic in a page turning way. And that's kind of been my MO since the very first book.
If you were making a recipe for a page turner, what are those few words? What is a sentence you'd want to say about that? How do you make me want to turn the page?
It's not original to me, but I remember a few years ago, I'm a big fan of Michael Connolly's
Hmm.
books, and we're friends. And he made the point that you need tension on every page,
Hmm.
and that keeps the pages turning. And I think that he's exactly right about that.
But that ain't easy to do. I mean, I've written screenplays, which I've written, you have to keep moving the story forward. Do you
Hmm.
have a moment in a book where you can relax and get to know? I mean, take a pregnant pause or just talk about something to ameliorate the character, or are you forced to push all the time?
No, when I'm writing, if I start getting a little bored with what I'm writing, I
Mhm.
just assume the reader will be bored with that too, and then I just push forward. I'm quoting another writer, Elmore Leonard, who said, "Leave out the parts people skip,"
That's
and,
right.
that's a brilliant advice.
I heard a great quote about writing. It said, if it smacks of writing, it probably is.
Right. That's
Always felt that way. And you mentioned Leonard. Were you informed by Larry McMurtry or Cormac McCarthy? Were those people, guys that you'd read when you were younger?
absolutely. I would put them on my list of favorite authors. Yes.
I mean, Lonesome Dove, and then I read No Country for Old Men recently, and I mean, the movie was fantastic, but I was blown away by McCarthy's unique economy of language, and even he didn't use quotation marks, which I found. What did you think when you saw that? That's a very, very cutting edge kind of thing, not using quotation marks.
I think
Still
it's
knew who was talking.
I think it's an affectation that I don't admire.
Hmm.
I like his writing. I've read a lot of his books. I think his book Blood Meridian is one of the most that one will stick with me for the rest of my life. But that the affectation of no quotation marks, I cannot come up with a logical reason why that's good.
I agree. I don't know the reasoning, but for me, it was interesting. I learned to in poetry. God, my name's going to escape her now. Frances, she wrote "A Good Man Is Hard to Find."
Oh, Flannery O'Connell.
Yeah,
O'Connor. Yeah.
my jaw dropped when I read that short story.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, it was just something that I could not believe. So, lastly, and again, I mean this sincerely. With 20 million books, I think you sold, if it's around that number. What keeps you going? I mean, why are you not on an island somewhere drinking pina coladas?
Well, I've got a pretty good gig. We have a nice little ranch here in Wyoming, and I enjoy spending. I feel compelled to work every day. I would go crazy if I didn't have a project in front of me, and I still find nothing more fun than working on the first draft of a novel.
Um,
Doing the research and pushing it forward. I mean, I just enjoy it. I'd drive my wife out of her mind if I was hanging around the house.
my wife says I'm happiest when I write. Another great quote was, "Authors write for the fame and the money, but writers write because they have to."
Yeah, I think that's a good quote. I agree.
It's just one of those things. I took up a lot, but I have a brief questionnaire that I think you should take part in. It's 10 questions, your opinion.
Okay.
You cool with that?
Sure.
Don't give any, it's your opinion, but there can be wrong answers. Live in a high rise or a log cabin?
Log cabin.
Rockford Files or Lonesome Dove?
Ooh, I like them both.
Yep.
I'd say Lonesome Dove.
All right. Morgan Freeman or Morgan Fairchild?
Morgan Freeman.
Paris or New York?
New York.
Sushi or steak? I know that one.
Yeah, steak. You can move on. Yeah.
Willie Nelson or Bob Dylan?
Ooh, tough. I'd have to say Bob Dylan.
Budweiser or Heineken? This is an easy one for you.
I'm not a Budweiser fan. Heineken.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Heineken?
Well enough. It wouldn't be my first choice.
Do you find when you get older it's harder to drink? I can't sleep when I get older. You're just a couple years older than me, I think. But
I'm a bourbon guy more than a beer guy.
well, yeah. NFL draft or Grammys?
NFL draft.
The last one, and give this one some thought. Would you rather have a sunburn or shingles?
Sunburn.
You got them all right, CG. I can't take it up. Not many do. Hewitt messed it up really bad. I think he got two right. Well, thanks so much for spending time with me. It's very kind of you, and I'd say continued success. But you don't need it.
Well, yeah, I got
What?
always a new book.
If
You
never
know.
sold another book, that would really bother you.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, CJ. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
You bet.